Happy holidays, everybody. It's Will from the Think Different podcast here with another episode. I'm so happy you're joining me not only here on the podcast, but also on our YouTube channel. Check us out and look up Think Different podcast, and you will find all of our video episodes. But also, if you're an old schooler and you just love the audio versions, you can catch us on every single platform here on Launchpad. We are on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to us, we are likely there. Now this week I'm a little bit solo. Frank was a little under the weather today, which is okay, because guess what? I'm here. In fact, I'm going to set the mood with my lights, and I'm going to tell Siri, make office lights red. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And it fits so well into our theme today. I'm actually going to probably turn one of these lights on. Hold on a second. Alright guys, so I'm all good, ready to go now. Got the beautiful color on my face, ready to talk about some stuff today. Now, later on this week, I am going to have an episode showing my entire home and how I'm using HomeKit in my entire house, which is a great episode. It's going to be out this week on our YouTube channel, so please take a look at that. It'll be just on our YouTube only. But I thought I'd piggyback on it this week with 5 of my top HomeKit ideas. If you have not been a part of the HomeKit experience, if you don't have anything in your house, these are 5 items I believe you should have in order to have a great experience. And I would say, you know what, since the holiday season, let's do it for Christmas. Let's get yourself out there. Or if you're Jewish, hey, Hanukkah's so many days, you can have so many different HomeKit devices on each day. So let's get into it. I'm actually going to share my screen and show you the items that I'm really into, that I believe are the right ones to go with. They're from Apple, they're from Amazon, they're all over the place, but I wanted to give you guys an idea of a HomeKit because I feel like I'm an expert on this experience. Hopefully Frank will be back next week, or hopefully we'll get a guest on. Whatever way, we are going to be here every single week, and if I have to do it by myself, well, damn it, I'm going to do it by myself. Now, I started right away with the number one item. The number one thing is lights. I am such a big fan of lights, and I think that you need to get lights for your home, and the easiest thing to do is the Philips Hue White Starter Kit. Now, these starter kits are the non-colored ones, so it's the yellow or the white, the 9.5 watt A19 E26. So these let you customize your home. You download the Philips app, and it comes with a hub, which will connect all the lights together. I believe you can have up to like 100 on your house or something like that. It's a super mount, and the expectation is that they should last you for 10 years. I have not had one problem with Philips Hue lights. I feel like they are the best out there, which is why I'm talking about them. This kit back in the day, it was only 2 lights and a hub. They've changed it up now. They're giving you 4, which I think is very fair. It used to be like 3 or 2. It was a very much smaller amount. But it's $100 here on Apple.com if you want to get the Hue lights. If you find a great deal for the holidays, I would tell you to get one. I think they're really good. But if you don't want to spend that much money, because there are cheaper options, we talked about this last episode on my top Black Friday episode. So if you want to download episode 71, I talked about my top 5 ideas for Black Friday. And one of these was this item right here, which is these beautiful bulbs called the Meross Smart Wi-Fi LED bulbs. These work with all of the different smart things. You have Siri, Alexa, Google, HomeKit. So they all work together, and they're much cheaper. Now, if you look on the screen right now, if you notice, they're not available right now. So it's actually very hard to get these. I believe when I ordered them, they were right around $29 to $30 for a pack of 2, which is the only thing I needed. I was getting them for my baby's room. It's not as important for me to have the Hue ones in that room, because for the first 6 months I'm not even going to be using them. But this, I think, is a good idea. I think going with these lights is a smart idea. Now, these are sold out, so I would take a look somewhere else and see if you could find the Meross Smart Wi-Fi. Meross has almost become the cheaper option of the expensive option. So if you have Hue, you have Meross. If you have like switches out there, you have Meross. Like they become a more affordable option. And I don't have enough experience with them just yet to give it, but for right now, I would give it a good 4 out of 5 stars. I think that's a very fair amount on there. And what I mentioned last episode, they were a little bit tougher to set up on there. But the idea is that you're also saving money in your home. You got to think about it. These bulbs, if you buy regular bulbs, you are going to have to replace them. It's the obvious thing. With the fact that you're going to lower the amount of usage, let's say you're going to sit in your room for 20% instead of 100%. It's so convenient for that, especially when you're watching movies or you want to set a mood for the home. Like, for an example, when I watch a horror movie or I watch a TV show like Ghost Adventures, I like to turn my room into a different color. So I'll turn it either red for a horror or green for Ghost Adventures or blue for something else. Or I just want them down to 20% just to not have them as wide, like crazy. So that's, in my opinion, why these are great, is that you could make so many different moods for so many different situations, and they are great to have. Now, I don't have a HomePod Mini, but I do have a HomePod. Now, why is this really important? Well, one thing you may not realize when it comes to HomeKit is you need to have something in your house that allows you to do this all remotely. So in your home, you have to have a product that stays in your house that would allow you to control your accessories. So that's why it's very important to have this. Now, this also could work with an iPad that stays in your home or an Apple TV. Personally, I think the HomePod is the best option out of all three because you're always going to have this connected and you're always going to have it on. It's not going to be on sleep mode. So this is an extremely important product to have. Also, to control your lights. So if you tell, hey, blah, make my lights 20%, you don't have to go to the app and do it. So that's why I think the HomePod Mini is very important. And I would have said HomePod the first time around, but since everything's changed with this new HomePod Mini, and for $99 to have a smart speaker in your home, this is the second biggest item that you should have in your home. I almost think HomePod is more important than the lights, just because without this, you can barely do anything remotely. And especially for the other items we're going to talk about in a bit, HomePod Mini is definitely worth it. And from the feedback I've seen, it's been great, and I do plan on getting one. Aren't you tired of being locked out of your home all the time? Well, this is the product for you. That's right. I'm going to be talking about these smart locks. And smart locks are extremely valuable to me. Ever since I remember I was locked out of my house. This was on Halloween, the day before Halloween a couple years ago. I was locked out of my house, and I had to wait for my wife to get home to unlock my door. And that was the day I said, forget it, I'm going to buy a smart lock. And when I worked at Apple at the time, they used to have this thing called the holiday giveaways. They used to give these tremendous discounts on all these accessories. Well, one of the discounts I got was on this item right here, the Schlage, whatever, the smart Wi-Fi deadbolt lock with a Camelot trim. Ooh, this is a little more fancier than the one I got, but this is the smart lock that comes that you put together yourself. It requires batteries to be on the door in order to control it. I believe it was 4 AA's. This seems a little bit easier to install than when I had to do it. I could just tell based on the back. It looks a little bit easier. And I will tell you that I had a mostly 80% great experience with them. There's a couple percentages where it didn't work that great. In fact, I had to get a replacement done actually within my first year of having it. The lock just wasn't locking correctly, and they ended up sending me a free replacement from Schlage. So good on them for hooking me up. That lock was having so many problems. I could tell it just was having a hard time doing it. But this has been really great to have in my home. It's got great reviews on Amazon. It's got over 5,000 reviews, so I would say it's a really good option to get. There's 2 different models. There's like, I guess, a Century and a Camelot, so there's like different versions of it. And okay, whatever. Now, one reason that I went with this lock over the other locks on this screen, or at least 2 of them, was the keypad option. The keypad actually is non-touch. It will not hold a fingerprint. That way it doesn't affect, it doesn't grab the fingerprint. So if someone had a very, I guess, good way of looking on the keypad of how many lights you touch, it's supposed to deteriorate from your fingerprints to be captured on the device, and it'll let you in. So you got 3 ways. You have the key itself, you have your watch or your iPhone, and you have the keypad, where the August and the level touch doesn't have that. The level touch is a touch, which means you touch the actual doorknob, it actually opens up. And then you have the August Wi-Fi smart lock. Now, this has been around for a while. August has been around since I was working at the Apple Store. And again, the reason why I went with the Slage over this one was the fact that it had the keypad. So you got to keep that in mind when you're buying a home lock. Now, if you look at the prices here, Slage has it for, well, it's $250 down to $224. You look at the home lock, they've been the same price the entire time. They've always been $250. Yale's a new one. This one I have not seen before, so I might as well let's click on it. Let's take a look and see what it is. Again, Apple doesn't have that many reviews on their sites, which is a little weird on there. So let's look at the AA batteries are required to go in there. It's the same 4 AA's, same as all the other ones. So this is a little cheaper. I just have not heard any reviews about this lock, so you'll have to just try to look it up and see if look at the reviews maybe on Amazon. But looks like it's pretty much the same idea, no different. All the locks are here, and that's what it looks like on the door. So pretty similar to the Slage. This is a little cheaper, so you might want to check this one out. Next up is one of my favorites, the switches. That's right. I am on a website called iDevices. And iDevices developed this switch. They were one of the first ones in the Apple Store. It was a $50 switch that would act as a switch, but also there's a night light attached to it. So there's 2 features that it does on there. Now, if you notice here on the website, they have not been selling them. In fact, they're not coming out till fall of 2021, and this is a recording on December 2nd of 2020. So it's clear that they're either redoing this product or they're going to be doing something different. So the one I have in my home, which you'll see on my video, make sure you check that out on our YouTube channel. But I will go to the ones that are available. So the ones that are available are the Meross Smart Lug Mini. It's a 4-pack for $40. So that's a pretty good price, actually. So if you take a look around, this is great for your Christmas tree. This is probably the best item to get for your Christmas tree. One of the things I do in my home is when it goes to sunset, these lights automatically turn on in my home when the sunset hits. That is a feature inside of HomeKit that you can turn on. You can obviously control it Siri, tell them to turn on. So I have a fireplace, so I would tell it to turn on my fireplace, and that's what I name my switch as that. It's obviously app controlled. You could do a schedule of them. So these are great, and it goes right into HomeKit. So a 4-pack for $40, that is not bad at all. What I think these are best for, anything that you have to turn on here and there. So the switch, like a lot of times it's going to be stuff in your home. Like if you have items that go on your wall and you want them to light up at a certain time, that would be great for that. But of course you have to keep the item on, or you have to keep your switch on at all times for that. Christmas lights is probably the best time to use this feature out. I don't have many other items in my home that I use the switch for, but if you could find something that you could do it for, like a fan's probably a really good one, a toaster if you keep it plugged in, a lamp. So if you don't get the light itself, you could do this for a lamp if you wanted to. Air conditioner wouldn't be a bad idea. If you have one of those plug-in air conditioners, would be a good idea. So Meross Smart Plug is one of those other items. And then on Apple.com, there is the Wemo Mini Smart Plug, and this is just one in a pack. And it's really the same idea. Again, it just comes down to what you think is, worth it. Like this has a 2-year warranty. I'm not sure of the warranty with the other one, but they both work with HomeKit. Again, 2 different brands. I don't have any experience with Wemo. I have the 2 lights from Meross, and also I have the outdoor switch, actually. So I'm going to add another item on here. They do have an outdoor switch as well that's very cheap. It was only like $30, $40. Very, very cheap to get that. And so far I've had very good experiences with it. There's 2 plugs on there, and on HomeKit you would have to activate which plug you want to turn on. So that's really the only thing I could see on this. So go with a switch. I think it's a good idea. This is a 4th item I believe you should need to have on your list. Final item, which was also on my Black Friday option, was Aquara. If you want to call it that, I have no idea what it's called. But these are the security video indoor cameras, which have 2-way audio, 1080p. And what's special about this one is it works with HomeKit. Why is that important? Well, HomeKit has the ability to record your video and store it in your iCloud. Now, if you are not, this will tie into this, that you will likely need to upgrade your iCloud storage. I currently have the most expensive plan, which is 2 terabytes. With Apple One coming out, it may convince you to get a different plan, but I would say you're going to need at least a 200 gig plan to support this, especially if you're going to be recording it. What's great about that is that if you are using HomeKit, you will not be sending their video signals to their server. So that means Acquire has nothing to do with it. It will go directly to HomeKit. Now, I understand by reading the material, you have an option to choose both. You can actually have it go to both areas. So it's got the night vision in there. It's got multiple spots where you can store it. And it says right here, video clips can be stored by Acquire Home app, 2 live streams, 1 to iCloud, 1 to the Acquire Home app. So again, iCloud storage, that's probably the biggest reason. I hate paying for camera services to record your stuff. I don't like it. Either I buy cameras that have an SD card slot in it, or I can, in this case, use iCloud for. So I'm going to go with one of those 2 styles. And that's something important to think about. Unless someone's going to give you an unlimited amount of video recording and you don't have to pay monthly for it, then go for it. But I personally would tell you, look for something that can store with an SD card, or that you can use it with iCloud. Sound detection, 1080p, you can do video messaging, instant detection, sleep time, event marking. I guess you can mark certain areas for one position. So that's one camera. I wanted to look at another camera, which is called the Eve Cam. This was actually on Apple.com, but it wasn't available to buy. So I don't know. That's what's weird about Apple. Apple, it's so weird. I honestly think Apple should be putting every HomeKit device that's compatible with them on Apple.com, because Apple's already known to not be compatible with a lot of smart devices. Even though I think there's so many, there's a solution out there for everything we talked about. If you saw how affordable some of these are, you could get something that's HomeKit related. But Apple's not known for it, and I think they need to change their belief on that. And I think they should let options like this one, like Acquire, be on their Apple website to look up. Otherwise, I'm just going to go to Amazon and buy it. And here we are talking about the Eve Cam, which is not available. So it's a 1-pack for $150. This doesn't have that many good reviews compared to others. But again, same idea. Works with HomeKit. Doesn't stream it to anything. So these are all indoor cameras. I didn't so much look for an outdoor camera because I think indoor is just a little more important than the outdoor. So I would tell you to get a camera. I think this is one of the last items that you should have for your home, just to protect yourself. And if you want to take a look at your dogs all the time, because that's important. All right, well, those are my top 5 HomeKit items that you should start your home with. I hope this gave you a great amount of information, and I am now going to show you in our next episode, or it will be a video going up this week, of me actually in my house giving commands and doing things to my home to show you everything I had. Some of the items you'll see are the items I had on here. Some are not. It really just comes down to what I have. Like, I don't have a camera that hooks up to HomeKit at all. They all are on separate devices. I don't have a temperature for my home for air conditioning and heat. A thermostat, they call that in these worlds. But I don't have a thermostat. I already have a Nest, but I don't think it's as important to do, because some thermostats already have that. Plus, Nest has been around for so long. It's really hard to compete with that. But I haven't picked that one. I mean, I'm just going with things that I would rather have in my home first than anything else, and I would probably throw a thermostat in there as another option. Apple's got a couple of good ones that are on there as well if you need to go on apple.com. But that's our episode this week for the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this version of the video and audio version of the podcast. So please take a look around, get yourself into HomeKit and ask for it for this holiday. We will be back next week with another episode of the Think Different podcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us here today, and you all have a great rest of your week, and I love every single one of you.